So we've been having a very good day today, Monday, in terms of the stock. The stock has gone a little crazy. Um, you had asked me a question about it the other day. I don't, it was,
So first of all, it's not Monday. That's a typo, Randy. It's Moon Day.
me?
Uh, what happened was over the weekend, Mr. Kirk made some thoughts about the stock price. And I said, I'd like to talk to you about that, but it's Sunday night. Where's it opening tomorrow? And and you were wrong, Randy.
I know, I know.
You were wrong. But to your credit, you were uh, uh, I guess the answer you gave me was technically to the penny, even though it was to the dollar, and it is right there. It got there within the first 5 minutes of opening. And if you'd have said, "Do you mean within the first 5 minutes?" I'd have said, "Yeah, sure." In which case you would have been right. So no one's right ever. You can't be right. If you are right once, it's a fluke. But if you're within a range, which I would say hitting the dollar correctly within the first 5 minutes is pretty correct.
Yeah, so then I got, but yeah, as you point out, I got the next part wrong. I said we would be moving up towards 440 during the next 10 days, but I didn't think that we could crush through 440 until there was more news on the robotaxi front, which we'll talk about in a second. And then this morning, after hitting 444, I think at the high, NVIDIA made an announcement. It was a fairly significant amount announcement. What did you see?
Well, is it significant? Because once you put enough zeros behind an announcement, they all look the same to me. NVIDIA to invest $100 billion in OpenAI. Uh, and I'll be honest, that one came out of left field for me. A billion would have come out of left field. 100 times that, definitely like that's I I don't understand, Randy Kirk. Guidance, please.
Well, okay. There's two parts to the guidance. Part one is just like we talked about last week, and we will continue to talk about today. Elon Musk put $1 billion into Tesla, and he knows more about Tesla than anybody else on the planet. And so his putting $1 billion in says, "Oh yeah, I know what's coming, and I can safely invest my billion." Well, think about NVIDIA. NVIDIA knows the whole game. They are customers and or suppliers to everybody in the Mag 17, not just the Mag 7, the Mag 17, the Mag 117. They're the top tech people in the world are all on his Rolodex, his personal Rolodex, and he can pick up the phone and talk to any of them. They call him all the time. So if he's putting 100 billion into OpenAI, that suggests to the world this is a good place to invest some money. And I'm thinking this morning people are chasing that, and there's money pulling out of the other Mag 7 stocks, like they all went like this, while NVIDIA was going like this. That's what I think, and including Tesla dropped, $10 on that news.
Well, I will reiterate what you just said. NVIDIA knows who the players are. They know what the products are. They've seen all the use cases. They know who the leaders and followers are. The fact that Tesla and NVIDIA are so closely aligned for the future of autonomy. The fact that NVIDIA I mean, they are the provider of choice. Could you get chips more powerful without using them? Sure, sure. What's your electricity budget? And the problem is, it doesn't come down to what I'm willing to pay for electricity. It comes down to I need to get the number of processes done per watt, or there simply won't be enough watts to purchase to get my equations done. So, yeah, they get to see everything. They don't get to see behind the curtain. They live behind the curtain,
Exactly.
and yeah. So this is, if you'd have asked me yesterday, where are we at? What's the future? I'd have said, well, look at the chart. You'll see Grok is all the way up by itself, all
Right.
by itself. And this tells me Grok will not be alone in this corner for long, that OpenAI will have an opportunity. Because if you can just buy more compute, OpenAI does have good algorithms. They do know what they're doing. It's possible that that they will be able to catch up because, and you can fact check me on this, $100 billion is a lot of money. Does that sound right?
Yeah, I think that's close. I think I wouldn't want to question you at least. So it sounds like a lot of
Has
money to me. Yes.
no government that we're aware of has ever purchased a computer that of that price, let alone that power relative to the industry.
Exactly.
Uh, so
Exactly.
this is a little bit of compute.
All right. Well, that is the news of the morning, and it fits so perfectly with my continuation with you where I want to continue to go, which is Elon Musk, like Jensen Huang. Elon Musk knows more about Tesla than even Jensen Huang. And he probably knows more about Tesla than Jensen Huang knows about XAI. Sorry,
Sure.
OpenAI.
OpenAI.
So and about where Tesla will be 6 months from now, a year from now. He knows the details. So we took my top 6 questions last week. We go question number 7 now. And again, these are the questions that I would ask if I could sit down with Elon right now. They're questions that could be asked at the upcoming earnings call in just about a month. And I'm asking them of you, Elon, and I'm looking for you to answer. But of course, I don't expect you to use his voice necessarily.
Good. Good. For the best.
And again, we're not going to play act this. These are the questions that I'm looking for in 30 days. Hopefully, these are the questions that the folks in the audience are also most interested in. So, you ready?
Ready. I'm ready.
Okay, question number, in this case, 7. Has anything you've learned regarding the robotaxi testing in Austin, and you could add to that the testing that's being done in San Francisco as well, has anything about that changed your estimation that Tesla will have somewhere around 1 million robotaxis and or cybercabs deployed by the end of 2026? And if your mind has been changed, what were those learnings and where are you now on those numbers?
So that's one where he would not answer that question, not in any meaningful way that we want. Because there's one of two possibilities. Either the answer is, oh, baby, we're going to hit it. Problem is, that would be a forward looking statement that could get you in some hot water. And the other possibility, which I think is the much stronger possibility, is that, yeah, we've encountered obstacles that will affect our timeline for scaling. Brian, not Elon, I do not expect 1 million by the end of 26. If we do, might as well start booking the tickets to Fiji now because that's, whew, um, there are infinite obstacles. And I think what you and I are going to see is soon version 14. Version 14, I expect to include things like pick up and drop off locations. I've complained for ages that FSD does not know where my driveway is. And a viewer, Beach Crow, said, that's not a Tesla problem, Brian. That's Google Maps. And he gave me step-by-step instructions, which I followed, to update my address on Google Maps. You go type in your address, go to it, and when it shows, there's a little, you can click edit this location, and I move the pin this much closer to the front curb, and literally you hit submit. It says we'll review this change. They see it's not malicious, and the next day my car now goes to the front of my house. Doesn't go to my driveway, but it
Still
does
doesn't
go to the
in the
front of my
driveway.
house.
Okay, so you
Yeah.
made progress.
Yeah, it's no longer taking me to the alley, but my driveway is very narrow with a hedge just literally right on it. So yeah. So, yeah, I think we're going to see that pickup and drop off. Once we do that, it will take our experience of parking spot to destination. Uh, it'll change that. It'll transform it to point to point.
Yeah.
You get in the car, you will never. Someone recently said, I couldn't believe it. I forgot that I had a heated steering wheel. I haven't touched it in so long.
That would be true. Okay. Okay, so you're not a fan of the million robotaxis by next year. Do you want to put a number on it that's less than 1 million?
No,
No,
It's to me, it's over the horizon, and I can't see over the
yeah,
horizon. I can hear that there's cars, but I don't know how many.
I see. All right. Okay. All right. Number 8, giving the gift of no nag to the current and future owners of Tesla would be a major hallmark of the entire program. You've recently said that unsupervised will be out before the end of 2025 in some geographies. Many are asking about the legal liabilities around that also. Are you still on track for over-the-air update to freedom? And he had also talked about some progressive steps towards it, like less nag. So, what are your thinkings about less nag, no nag, legal issues around FSD being unsupervised?
So everyone uses it differently. You and I certainly use it differently, whether, and it could be something very small. My observation, and I've seen other people report this on X, is that the nag has already been reduced.
Mm.
It used to be that you would look at the screen for 1 second. It'd be like, eyes up here. And you're like, I have to look at what you just told me. Okay, I just told you eyes up here. I can't read the thing unless you let me.
It's exactly right. It's
Yeah,
100%. Yeah.
yeah, I have to. Uh, and I get it. I don't know a better way to do it, but I think I'm expecting to see even less nag. I'm not expecting unsupervised in the next 100 days. I think if that happens again, book your tickets to Tahiti now, because unsupervised, to me, means liability has been assumed by the operator, which is not me.
Yeah.
Because if it's unsupervised, that means you could have an unlicensed driver in the vehicle, no driver in the vehicle. And even if they say, what I would be, uh, maybe we'll see highway level 3, you know, Mercedes traffic jam assist, except without all the restrictions that make it useless, where maybe it's just on the highway
Oh,
unsupervised.
oh,
Uh, that would be that would be one way to ensure that there's still a driver in the vehicle, in
oh,
the driver's seat.
hadn't thought
Uh,
of that.
yeah, so that to me seems more likely, but the step is so huge from supervised to unsupervised. I don't think this year anyone will be able to send their car away empty other than Tesla themselves.
Yeah, but that's what my wife and I are waiting for because we only have one car and we're waiting for the day when she can drive it to work and she can send it home. Then I've got
Hmm.
it for the day. So come on now, we need to get there. All right. So you're right, though. When that happens, it is going to be huge for the stock. Um, Number 9, there are many Tesla owners that have hardware 3 vehicles. Are you ready to announce yet today, maybe, when and why that class of customers whether they will get unsupervised, whether they'll be able to send it out as a robotaxi? And it was there was some like a little hope added this last week. I'll just do my own little analysis here. There's a little bit of hope added. Maybe you would have said this anyway, that the amount of the reduction using, I forget what it's called now, synoptics, symphony, something, I forget what it's called.
Syntax.
No, I'd have to look it up. Anyway, there's a way to use less of that chip
Mm.
and still get the same results that was pretty significant. And so there was some hope suggested on X that maybe that would help us get hardware 3 good enough.
Hmm. So hardware 3 may be good enough. I believe it's still today too soon to know, because you have to finish building something, make sure it works, and then you can start looking at what you can trim out of it. You can make it's interesting. If you look at old Atari 2600 games, they're not very good, but there are programmers who've dedicated decades as hobbyists to finding out what the limits actually are, who have built homebrew games that are remarkably impressive for how lean the hardware is. Things that back then, oh my gosh, if you'd have made that back in the 80s, oh, you'd have made all the money. But of course, we didn't know what could be done. We didn't have the hindsight of decades of of tinkering to find out. So could you get another thing worth noting is that some percentage of the GPU is dedicated to tracking your eyeballs. So once we can cut that, that no longer matters. That frees up some compute space to do driving instead. So it could be that they're saying once we get it to unsupervised, maybe we could just cut that feature alone, and that would give us enough headroom to do the processing. I don't think that's necessarily true, but we don't know what needs to be cut. I know people like John, the in Chicago, what's Tech Geek Tesla. He's on hardware 3, and he says, guys, you're blowing it out of proportion. This 12.6 dot whatever is remarkable. It is just about as good as hardware 4. So I do not expect an announcement to be forthcoming. I think that from the time hardware 4 is unsupervised, it might be 6 months before we get a final answer on what's needed, if anything at all.
Okay. Number 10, and the last for this session, and we'll do more on Tuesday night. Recently stated, Mr. Musk, you recently stated that a solar gigafactory was something you were thinking about. Then a little bit later, somebody asked you about the problem of not having enough energy for the country. And you said, I've got a solution for that. And then a little later, you were asked more about solar and batteries with regard to the generation of energy for the hyperscalers at the data centers. And you said, yeah, definitely we will be involved in solar and batteries at a huge level. But you still haven't really said, does that mean Tesla is going to get in the business of building lots and lots of solar panels themselves?
So it's tricky. The US is not good at building solar panels, and getting qualified workers to the US to build the factory is problematic. It's something you cannot count on. So they would need to rely on imported panels. It'd be nice if there was lower tariffs on panels. Right now, they're at last I saw, Biden had set them at 100%, which is, to me, counterproductive, to put it politely. Is there another country that makes them that we could import them from at a lower cost? No. China really makes all the solar panels. Could we make them here for less than double what China sells them for? We have very little solar production. This is a weird bottleneck. It would be nice if we could just say, okay, look, until we get up and running, or at least just phase in the tariff so that companies have time to adjust. No, we're not going to do that. So that creates an artificial bottleneck. If you'd have asked me this question prior to the advent of the hyperscalers, I'd have said, no, we have enough production capacity to handle all this. We just need to smooth out time of use, which megapacks do very, very well. And it's a grid. It's like, well, the wind isn't always blowing. It is somewhere. Maybe not here, but it's blowing some. Well, but today is partly cloudy. Right. Partly. The grid is larger than that. So if the sun is shining somewhere in the western US, which guess what? It always is. And if for some reason it's super cloudy, guess what? You got a bunch of wind. That's kind of how it works. And in both cases, you can predict it a week out. You can know if the hydro needs to spin up a little bit of extra. Hydro can bank that water, bank that power. And if for some reason we have so much solar that we're not using as much hydro, you can dedicate it to agriculture in many cases. Wonderful. But now that we've got the hyperscalers, we're seeing these data factories come online. I saw this very clever cartoon the other day with a man standing in front of his house, and he says, hey, Chat GPT, why is my power bill so high? And right next door is a data center. And so that's what's happening is all the concerns we had about EVs using up all the juice, and not a peep about the data centers, which are already using oceans of power. So Oh, it's insane. So there's uh yeah, so we do need more solar. I don't believe Tesla wants to dedicate the time to spinning up a solar fab because it takes time. They're extremely precise manufacturing process. If you thought batteries was hard, solar is harder. And we've seen how slowly the ramp of batteries has gone. Painful. We need to recognize that with solar being more difficult, it could be 10 years before it's producing in meaningful numbers, certainly 5. And by then, we're in a whole different world anyway. So I don't know what the solution is, but I don't think it's going to be building a factory.
I've just realized that there's a real opportunity for one more power source, and that would be to require wind turbines in the homes of all YouTubers. I
Oh,
think,
yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
renewable, locally sourced, organic, so much hot
distributed,
air.
distributed. I mean,
Oh,
everything.
oh,
It's got it's got everything going for it. So, Brian, that's all I got for you for today. We'll see where the stock ends up. I'm going to continue my notion that we will be approaching 440 over the next 10 days. I think we will stay under 440 for the next 10 days, even though we got above it. And we might get above it again intraday, and maybe we'll even close. Who knows? But that's going to continue to be my best guess is under 440 until after the October 2nd revelation.
mm-hmm,
Then I think we will start moving up towards the all-time high as we get closer to the meeting.
mm-hmm. All right.
All right, that's it. Okay, Brian, thanks for jumping on. And all of you out there, it's been great talking to you.